We'll go ahead and call tonight's city council meeting to order. And for tonight's invocation, we've got Pastor Carlos Campos of the Calvary Baptist Church. Pastor.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for this day. Father, thank you so much for waking us up and giving us another day of life. And Father, just help us to truly be thankful to you for every day that we get, and that we would use it for your glory, Father. I pray for this meeting. I pray for this city and everything, all the people in it. I pray for the firefighters, the policemen, the EMTs, Father, and the sacrifice that they make. Father, protect them, guide them as they work. And Father, we just lift up this meeting to you today. We lift up the leaders, protect them and their families. Give them wisdom and guidance as they make decisions, as they discuss different things on their agenda. Father, above all, just allow everything that happens here to truly bring honor and glory to you, Father. We love you. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Larry Budd.
Here.
Sean Bertle.
Here.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Here.
Rob Heberlin.
Here.
Bruce Jones.
Here.
Ray Kuntz.
Here.
Martin Voda. Earl Walters. Here.
7 aldermen present and 1 absent. First thing we have is a motion to utilize the omnibus vote for approval of the minutes of the previous meetings listed on tonight's agenda under the title Omnibus Vote Designation. Alderman Dorchenez, was Alderman Jones the second?
You can give it to me. I heard it off the other side, but I'll take it.
Discussion? Roll call.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heberlin.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Kuntz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Budd.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, the minutes we'll be approving will be the minutes of the regular meeting held September 2nd, 2014. Minutes of the Emergency Services Committee meeting held September 4th, 2014. Minutes of the Personnel Committee meeting held September 4th, 2014. Minutes of the Water Environmental Committee meeting held September 11th, 2014. And minutes of the Lake Airport Committee meeting held September 11th, 2014. I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved, Your Honor.
Alderman Walters, second.
Second.
Alderman Budd, discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heberlin.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Kuntz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Budd.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, I think the next resolution that's on the agenda, I'm going to hold that for the Emergency Service Committee so we can do that at the same time we do the other work. We'll go to the resolution regarding the Christian County Major Crimes Task Force Intergovernmental Law Enforcement Agreement. Take a motion to approve that resolution. Alderman Bertle.
Second.
Second by Alderman Heberlin. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Rob Heberlin.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Kuntz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Budd.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Next, we have a resolution regarding the intergovernmental cooperation agreement between the city and the village of Stonington in regards to borrowed equipment.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Alderman Walters,
Second.
second by Alderman Kuntz. Discussion or comment? Roll call.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Kuntz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Budd.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heberlin.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. And the next resolution, I'll hold that for the Water Committee when we get to that. Let's move on to Plan Commission recommendations. I'd ask Mr. Hauser to please address the council regarding the Plan Commission meeting tonight.
Thank you, Your Honor, and members of the Board of Aldermen. The Planning and Zoning Commission met this evening to consider a rezoning request by Harold K. Johnson to rezone from residential R1 to commercial 2C2, property located at 1700 East Main Cross here in Taylorville. There was some interesting discussion on it. There were a few neighbors, a couple of neighbors who were in opposition to it. The trend in that vicinity, however, seems to have been going commercial, and the way that the members of the board, the Planning and Zoning Commission saw it was to recommend to you, by unanimous vote, to go through with the
I guess I look for a motion to accept the Plan Commission's recommendation. Do I hear that motion from anyone?
I'll make that motion.
Alderman Bud, second. Second going once. Second going twice.
Second.
Second by Alderman Dorchenez. Discussion or comment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Alderman Walters.
As I mentioned at the previous planning commission meeting, I would prefer that the property be cleaned up of what we saw in the pictures out there first before we okay proceeding with starting with it being C2. The items that are there have been there for quite a while, and I think that to benefit the neighborhood and the city of Taylorville, as well as the property itself, those items need to be totally removed and properly cleaned up before we proceed with C2. So I will not be supporting it.
Alderman Heberlin.
Yeah, I spoke at the zoning meeting that I think we need to be concerned when we start changing the zoning in any area, but in particular going from a C1 or an R1 to a C2 in a residential area. I think we have to watch what the impact of the residents of that area is going to be, and we have to watch what the impact is going to be on their property values, so I'm going to be opposed to this.
Okay. Anyone else? Alderman Dorchenez.
These issues are always difficult whenever you have somebody asking for rezoning to commercial. When you have residents living in that same neighborhood, you know, the city it tries to encourage business, but by the same token, trying to respect the ownership of those people who live in a residential area. So these things are very difficult for the Plan Commission, and they're very difficult for the council. I said jokingly in the audience when they had the hearing, I feel strongly both ways, and I do. But you can't straddle the fence. You're going to have to vote one way or the other, and I'm going to vote for it.
Anyone else? Alderman Bud.
You know, the veterinary's place next door is commercial. Right across the street, you got Trico Equipment. It's commercial. I mean, it's in a commercial area. I realize there's residential right next to it, but you've got it around there, and we've been asking. We just had a month ago a zoning for C2, and we said we need to support C2. And here we've got another example of trying to support it, and I'm here to try to support to get commercial businesses and to gain the tax base that we can gain off of this. You know, we're struggling for money, and this is another way to be able to gain some more revenue.
Okay. Anyone else? Alderman Kuntz.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have to echo Alderman Walter's sentiments. I can see supporting this as long as I have some guarantee that the property's going to be cleaned up. But right now, I can't support it. There'll be time to bring it back if it does fail. And at that time, if it is cleaned up, I will support it fully. Thank you.
Anyone else before we vote? Roll call.
Ray Coontz.
No.
Earl Walters.
No.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
No.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heberlin.
No.
Bruce Jones.
No.
Motion fails 5-2. Anything else, Mr. Hauser?
There's nothing else brought before the planning and zoning commission, and so we adjourn.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
You need to vote, Mayor.
On the minute.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You should get his vote first next time.
Actually, I'm going to vote in favor, so it'd be 5-3. All right. Moving on.
So it still fails.
Next. Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes. Alderman Bud.
there was some aldermen that said that if he cleaned this property up, they would reconsider this. Does that mean that this could come back at another date?
Yes.
And that needs to be so noted in the minutes.
Sure. Well, it can always come back. Any property can
I
come back.
understand that, but
Yeah.
if he cleans the property up, I mean, he's meeting a couple of the aldermen's concerns.
I don't want to speak for them, but I think that was their intent. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, what rights do I have?
What's that?
What rights do I have?
Well, I mean, again, yeah, unfortunately, I really can't open it up for a big discussion here, but I think if you want to talk to the aldermen, separately, I think that's my understanding from several of them, I think. Okay, let's move on. Next, we have an ordinance amending section 6-4-1 of the city code, this regarding stop signs at Anderson and Thompson, and Webster and 2nd Street, and Sandy Duncan and Bidwell Street.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Alderman Walters, second.
Second.
Alderman Kuntz, discussion or comment? Roll call.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherling.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Next, we have an ordinance amending subparagraph, is that I, of section 8-5-4 of chapter 5, title 8 of the city code, this regarding liability of property owner for building sewer repairs. Entertain a motion.
So moved with comment.
Alderman Jones, can you get a second?
I'll second with question, Your Honor.
Alderman Walters, go ahead with your comment. Alderman Jones.
On page 4, section D, when it says, when a broken or cracked building sewer tap to the city's public sewer, I'd like to have that amended to after broken with a comma, and then the word separated. Because we have a lot of these that are separated, they're not broken, they're not cracked, but they are separated, and that's a condition that seems to have evaded us in the past.
That's a good point.
Thank you.
Is that it? Alderman Walters.
I would refer my comments to our city attorney. He and I spoke briefly and raised some concerns, and he was kind enough to say that he would address those this evening that Superintendent Wiseman and I look at.
If I may, Your Honor.
Yes,
First of all, we have to put in a time frame as to how far back you're going. That's why I left that blank.
Sure.
So whatever date that was, you folks need to decide. I think what Alderman Walters was concerned about, and I think the intent was, and you guys tell me if it's not accurate, that if the building sewer, now keep in mind the definition of a building sewer under your code is that part that comes from the residence building up to the sewer tap. This is drafted in such a way that if the building sewer and the building sewer tap to your main is damaged, the repair, we're only concerned about the repair that's located within the city's right-of-way or easement. We're not talking about going all the way back to where it comes out of the person's house. And so I think it states that now, but we can put the word only on page 2, for example, under paragraph 2A, small Roman numeral 2, where it says located within the city's right-of-way or easement. We can insert the word only there, and I think that word may have to go in a couple other spots in the language, so that it's perfectly clear that we're only talking about damage or repairs of a building sewer and a tap within the city's right-of-way or easement. Is there a question about that?
And that was my concern for the city attorney. I think that helps to clarify it, because it's been your purpose also, Commissioner Romano, that we're trying to clean up some of the language in some of these things, would make it so it's easier to understand.
Right. This is a rewrite of your code sections that you directed me to do. And I do apologize for the typo, the 1,700, it is 1,750. I made that correction,
Yeah.
so.
Alderman Heberling.
All the discussion until right now tonight has been about who's going to pay for the tap repair. There has been no discussion up until right now about the service line that's in the city's right-of-way. None. So this seems like it's a new conversation. Well, that's a good point, but it's not intended to be. The way this is written is the conjunctive. It has to be, the tap has to break. And if the tap breaks and then that sewer line 2 inches away from the tap is damaged, or 6 inches away from it, I thought that was what you guys were going to be fixing. If it fell away, separated or fell away from the sewer main, and in that doing, it cracked that sewer extension in that failure, that $3,500 was going to include that repair cost. If it's not, then yes, it needs to be rewarded. Well, when you start talking about the service line in the right-of-way area, in some places that right-of-way is rather an extensive area. So in most cases, that right-of-way is greater than 6 inches. So it seems like you're really opening this up past what the scope of our conversations have been in all the committee meetings that I've been to, if you're including that service line in the right-of-way area.
The intent of the draft of
I
this
understand the intent.
was only to repair a service line that because of the failure of the tap right next to it.
It was to repair the tap. There has been no discussion that I'm aware of on repairing the service line, because there was no conversation or no arguments that the city had any obligation to fix a service line.
And I understand.
I agreed to the compromise in that it was going to be just the tap, not a discussion on paying for repairs of a service line. And it sounds like that's what you're opening it up to.
That's not what I'm trying to do, but
But it
I can
sounds
clear
like
up the language here, because if the, where does the tap end and the service line begin if there's a separation? That's the point. And it was, and I'm not a sewer fellow, okay? So if someone goes in there and the sewer main has, or the tap has failed or become damaged, and the pipe now is away from it, and our sewage is being, the integrity of our sewer main is being jeopardized because it's not flowing, it's going out somewhere else. When they come in to reattach it, do they not have to somehow make that sewer line connect up to it?
That's true.
So that's what I was trying to deal with.
I think you need to do that cautiously.
Well, this was not an
won't
easy ordinance to
support
write,
it.
I will say
I won't
that.
support it if you make it too broad,
Okay.
because I believe it's way broad enough the way it is.
So what, just maybe someone can suggest, what has been the experience? How far from the tap would you have to make repairs to make the connection? I guess that's the point.
That could be a whole host of distance.
And that's my concern.
From 3 inches to 6 feet.
Let me ask
Could it?
the,
Okay, so I
let me
don't,
ask the superintendent.
okay.
It could be
Dick?
60 feet.
Yeah, it'd be a long way.
If it goes clear across the street, it could be 60 feet in the right of way.
See my concern.
So,
Mr. Chairman. I mean, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman
Sorry.
Jones.
I just raised my hand. If Alderman Dorchenez has a point.
Wait a minute, okay.
I didn't see you raise your hand.
Alderman
sorry.
Haverly.
Well, I just
Continuing.
I just want to make sure that we understand what it is that we're agreeing to here.
Right.
And right now, I don't agree to what you're proposing.
Okay.
I yield the floor.
Can I go to Alderman Dorchenez?
Yes, you may.
Alderman Dorchenez.
Now, this may be a little bit longer than you would prefer that I talk, but
You could do it in 3 minutes after the meeting.
I'm against this ordinance. Nobody's changed my mind. I wish they would. I can't believe that I'm the lone ranger with 7 other people not agreeing with me, and I should be agreeing with them, probably because there's 7 people and they all seem to think alike. So I'm still in favor of repairing broken taps at no charge to the property owner. And what I mean by that is in the city's right of way. And I have a couple of questions, and maybe Mr. Wiseman can answer them. Maybe Mr. Walters, whoever wants to answer them. Maybe you can make me feel a little bit more fuzzy, trying to change my mind and agree with you. We've got a sewer department. And the question I have is, why can't they do the job at no cost to the property owner? Why can't they fix a broken tap? And the only cost to the property owner then would be the cost of the saddle tap. Can somebody answer that for me? Why aren't we fixing these taps at no charge to the property owner?
Or money.
If you're doing the work, you're working anyway. Where's the, If you weren't doing that, you'd be doing something else, in my opinion. Why couldn't you fix a broken tap? If you had the employees, you could. Is that is that the only problem? You have equipment? You got the equipment. The only thing you don't have is employees. Did you ever have an employee fix a tap in the past? Ever? You have? And you charge the property owner for, I don't know how you charge. Did you charge them prevailing wage? Did you charge them what we pay the employees?
Years ago we've done.
Pardon?
Years ago we've done. We haven't done it since I've been superintendent.
In the city code book, it states under 8-5-4, if the property owner fails to repair his service line within the allotted time, 30 days, the street and sewer department may repair the service on the city right-of-way at the property owner's expense. The property owner would be charged time and material for the repair. Why not just charge it for the material? Why can't we forgive the labor charge? They're getting paid anyway for whatever they're doing. Whether they're doing that or whether they're sweeping streets, whether they're fixing potholes. I don't know why we can't pay or have employees do that work, and then we wouldn't have to worry about all this. Whose problem was it? Who broke? Why is the tap broken? Is it the property owner's problem? He did it. He's responsible. Is the city's trunk line? Did it fail for whatever reason? And I talked to some of those people that live in the north end of town. There's 9 different people that have broken taps in that one block. And I asked them if they were happy with this ordinance that was going to be presented tonight. And the answer I got, they're not happy, but it's better than nothing. And also, some people say that the city can't afford to pay to fix a broken tap. The city can't afford it. The city consists of taxpayers residing in Taylorville, and the city can't afford to fix it, but we expect those individuals to fix it. The city can't afford to fix it, but the individual can afford to fix it. There's a lot of people out there that are on fixed incomes, that don't have very much money, that are living from payday to payday or from Social Security to Social Security check. And the city can't afford to do that, but they can. That bothers me. Does that make sense to anybody here?
Yeah, because I think you have to understand there's those same people you're talking about. You're now going into his pocket, and his pocket, and his pocket to pay for that person that can't. Now, out of the goodness of their hearts, they may want to, hey, let's take up a collection and do it for that person. But when we're tax cap and we can't go get more revenue, where all the people vote for it and say this is what we want to do as a collective group, to just arbitrarily and say we don't care what the group wants to do, we're going to make it where we're going to do it anyway. That's not right either, because you're in effect raising taxes on me. We're all a group. We all pay for the sewer system we have here. The problem we have here in Taylorville is with that tax cap, we don't have enough revenue to do it properly. And if you're talking about taking on more, we're just making that situation worse. If there was a way to raise funds, then I'd be on your side, because you're on the side where we could all be heroes to the public and say, hey, we're going to pay for all this. But it's not our money. It's not Ernie's money. It's not Greg's money. It's not Bruce's money. It's the taxpayers' money. And so we're taking more of their money, which means it has to come from another project that won't get done, or some roads that won't get repaired, or the people that have been without sewer for 40 years already and are still waiting and still paying the sewer taxes, and says, when is my day going to come? And we keep telling them we just don't have enough money. To say, now you're going to have to wait a little bit longer because now we have more repairs we have to pay for. That's not right on that side either.
Well, I don't agree with you. For example, if you buy insurance on your house, fire insurance, you hope the house doesn't burn down, and so what you're doing is you're sharing that risk with everybody. This would be the same thing. You're sharing your risk with everybody, and if the sewer department could do the work, there is no extra expense.
But they can't. They can't do what they're doing right now and keep up with it.
How many people do you have in the sewer department?
3.
3 people.
You done for the moment?
Let's go.
I'm done.
Okay, Alderman Jones.
Upon your advisement, what is the distance? I mean, we're having the homeowners responsible for the sewer line up to and including the tap, and we're up to and including the tap, and we're going to give them $1,750 if the job reaches $3,500.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to reimburse them. We're not giving it to them. We're going to reimburse them for our part of the job. Do we need any extra language as in the city's right of way, or?
I think we need to add in the city's right of way.
Okay, in the city's right of way, do you need a distance from the main
To the right of way.
main to the right of way? But if that right of way extends,
It stretches all over.
That's-
It could be 30 feet, it could be 10 feet,
okay,
it could be 60 feet.
But the agreement is written as such that if it's a 60-foot, for example, and the cost is going to be over $3,500, it comes back to you folks on a case-by-case basis to decide what, if any, more you're going to contribute.
okay. So are you happy with the ordinance the way it's written now?
Yes.
Okay. Are you okay with the separated line
Yes.
that I suggested? So we don't need to add a distance as long
This is in the right of way.
as it's in the right of way, the 10-foot depth, everything is, I know that you want it higher personally, but you are, in the spirit of compromise, have also said
1750.
1750, and we know that we're gonna have, and we're gonna speak about this at the finance committee meeting Wednesday night. How are we going to budget for that? Okay, thank you very much.
All right, let me go to Alderman Coons, trying to stay in order here, and then I'll come back to you. Alderman Coons.
Your Honor, I've said this in committee, and I'll say it in full council. I agree with everything Alderman Dorchin has said. I also have spoke to those residents, since they are in my ward and Mr. Budd's ward. We have asked them how they felt, how would they like us to vote on this, and everything in between. And like Alderman Dorchin has said, they don't like it, but they feel this is the best deal that they're going to get, considering how the votes play out on the council. I don't like it either. I think the city should be paying for more of this, but under spirit of compromise, I will support it reluctantly, because I, like the residents, think this is the best shot we're going to have and the best deal we're going to get. But let me restate one thing, though, and it's been stated before too. If this was a water line, the situation would be a lot different than what we're talking about here. And I think, you know, if it was a water line, correct me, Dave, if I'm wrong, the homeowner is responsible up to the meter well, and from the meter well to the main, we take care of that, correct?
It's the property line. Most of the meter wells are at the property line. There are some exceptions when they're not. But the shut off of meter wells normally at the property line. We're going to change from our main perspective.
And so in my mind, and some other people's minds, that's a little different than what we're talking about here, but that's just my opinion. I will support this reluctantly, just because the residents of Ward 1 told me and authorized me to do so. Thank you.
Alderman Dorchin.
Okay, we had a deep sewer fixed recently where we had a sinkhole. Do you know how much that cost?
To fix that sinkhole, I got about $10,000 tied up in it.
Do you have any, because that's in this ordinance too, what would you support in the event that you were involved in the discussion for a recommendation on how much that would you have the city pay for that?
On that right there, they got to pay their $1,750 now. Is that what it would cost them to put it back? And we're going to eat the rest. $1,750 a piece for them. So they're going to pay $3,000, we're going to eat $7,000.
I don't know if I understood what you just said.
They're $1,750, all right? $1,750 a piece, all right? There's two houses, two taps.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Two taps is on that. We put a
Okay.
manhole in. Two
All right.
taps. We went down 23 feet. It cost, one property owner's going to pay $1,750, the other one's going to pay $1,750. That's $3,500. We're going to eat the rest of it.
All right, we need to get moving on this. Alderman
I
Bud.
just would like to say one thing. This was a compromise after several discussions at several committee levels. And we had the people that was affected by this was at that meeting that night. And I said to them, I realize this is not what you want, but are you okay with this, to at least get this solved? And they all said that night, well, this is better than what we were. And reluctantly, I'm going to support it. I agree with Alderman Dorchenez, but the votes are not there, and this is a compromise to make it where we can work with everybody.
Alderman Heberling.
Well, I'm just not going to vote on something I don't understand. If we accept this as it's proposed, what the city then is doing is taking on the additional liability of the service line coming from the resident's house, including the tap.
Portion, yes.
Whereas at committee level, for probably 10, 12, 16 hours, Bruce, the only discussion that we had was on how to deal with the tap. Now you're including the service line. What the compromise was about the tap, not about including a service line in the right-of-way.
I think I can clear that up for you. They're still responsible for it, whether it happens on their property. If everything's broke on their property, they're going to fix it. If it's broken in our right-of-way, then they're subject to this 1750. They're still going to be responsible for the repair, but then they fall under the parameters of this ordinance because it's happening in the city's right-of-way. The sewer's in the city's right-of-way. The sewer line that they're responsible for is in the city's right-of-way. This just allows them to be indoctrinated into this and included into this ordinance.
It was their service line anyway. I'm not quite sure why you have to include the language of including in the city's right-of-way.
I think that was part of the compromise, like you say, in the hours and hours of discussion and everything else. I think because if the line broke even 3 feet back, and yet somehow the actual tap into the main was in place, they still wouldn't have service. So Dick could be going to them and say, you still have a break here that's putting our main at risk because it can wash out underneath there, so that has to be fixed.
What precipitated this was Attorney Romano asked, are we talking about 2 inches at the tap or 6 inches at the tap? And I guess my question is, are we talking about 10 feet from the tap?
I think you're talking $1,750, and I think what Bruce, Alderman Jones has outlined, I think quite well, was that if there's any break in the right-of-way that hurts the integrity of our building sewer, then the city will contribute up to $1,750 towards that repair. If that repair cost exceeds $3,500, or if it's at a greater depth than 10 feet, or if the superintendent decides that the city or other third parties were at fault in causing that break, it comes back to the city council on a case-by-case to make that decision. But I see where you're coming from, Alderman Heberling, but I guess the way this is written right now, it would, as Mr. Jones pointed out, that if there was a separation in the right-of-way that somehow would affect our system, then we would contribute up to $1,750 for the repairs.
See, you just described my confusion here. This discussion was about the tap, not about any separation in the service line.
Well, I wasn't present for the whole 12 or 16 hours that you did, but I was present at the last committee meeting, and I thought that's what we were talking about.
And we talked about the tap, not the condition. The property owner has always been responsible for the service line. If there's a break in that service line, if there's a break in that, that's what the property owner was responsible for. But now you're making the city partially responsible for that separation in the service line. even if it's separate from the tap. And that's not what this compromise was all about.
Well, first of all, I'm not the one doing it.
You're the one that offered it
Number
up.
two, I'm drafting an ordinance that I believe that came out of the committee as I understood it. You may have a better memory than I won't challenge that. But you decide tonight which way you want it, and we'll draft it that way. I've heard one way that Mr. Jones has described. Your superintendent says he's satisfied with that. If you want other language, then I can redraft it to satisfy the majority of you.
But you included a break in the service line. That the
It would be
city-
interpreted that way, yes.
That the city's gonna help pay for. And we were talking about just helping fixing the tap, not the service line.
If it was to protect, if you look at page 3 under BI, it's if the superintendent believed that the repairs are reasonable and necessary to protect and maintain and avoid any further damage to the city's public sewer. So just because it has a break, there has to be some connection that if it's going to jeopardize the integrity of the city's sewer, then we'll do some contributions. But if you want to write it, if you have a different view of it, I can write it the other way.
Where was the part about in the cities right away?
It is down on paragraph, page 2, 2A, double small I,
Okay.
and italics. It says there, located within the city's right-of-way or easement.
All right, let's go, Alderman Bertle.
Well, first of all, I want to clarify, $1,750 is the max they're gonna get regardless of what happens on the property, unless they come back to committee. So whether it's a broken line, broken tap, combination of both, whether it's the separation of the tap or the main line, the biggest thing we're getting confused on here, that line just doesn't move arbitrarily. Something has made it either break, it's either collapsed, it's pulled apart, something sank, something's happened.
Tree roots.
Until you dig it up, you don't really know what's wrong with it. And Dick can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but probably 99.999% of these are gonna be broken right at the main. That doesn't mean that they're not broke 6 inches away, 2 feet away, 3 feet away, whatever, but I think what the city attorney's intent was to get it fixed, and Mr. Wiseman's intent was to get it fixed, and then that property owner will get $1,750, which that bill is probably gonna be more than that anyway. It'll probably be at least $3,500, but whether that includes part of the sewer line or not, the ones that are 60 feet long that he described, most of those are in newer subdivisions. They got plastic lines. The odds of that happening are almost remote. So we're talking about the ones that are down in Ward 1, the ones that we've been discussing for months now. Those are probably old sewers. They're probably just a hole drilled in the side of the main. They shoved the pipe in there, they put some kind of sealant around it, and that's the end of it. Now, whether that broke right there, or whether there's a foot piece of pipe inside that thing and it snapped off on the outside, but it still has to be connected to something for it to drain. I'm not saying dig up their whole property all the way back to the house, but they gotta dig back 2 feet, they're still gonna have to do that. And that's gonna still be included within the $3,500, and they're gonna be entitled to a $1,750 rebate if everybody agrees on that. But most of the cases, I think we're reaching out there for a lot of what ifs, and I don't think that we really need to. I think this is a pretty good compromise, and I think it's gonna cover 90% of the sewer problems, but there is gonna be some that's gonna have to come back and get reevaluated. I'm almost positive of that.
Alderman Jones.
If we delete the part where it says the building sewer and damaged building sewer tap, and then delete located within the city's right-of-way or easement, provided the excavation depth, which is what we originally talked about, like Alderman Heberling had said. The common knowledge is that sewer tap is going to be in the city's right-of-way. So if we delete that, it doesn't hurt the integrity of the ordinance, does it?
What is it you want to delete besides?
Where, after building sewer tap, under II, the property owner's damaged building sewer and damaged building sewer tap, and then delete located within the city's right-of-way or easement. And then that tap would be provided the excavation depth is such repairs not to exceed 10 feet, which is what we talked about.
You leave yourself open.
Well, I think it would.
That's what I'm saying.
If you take out the word building, if you take out the building sewer, by definition of your city code that you've had for years,
I'm not talking
means
about
the
deleting the
service
building sewer, I'm just talking about the part where it says located in the city's right-of-way or easement.
If you take that out of there, then you're doing what I think Alderman Heberlin is concerned about, is that'll get you all the way up to the property owner's edge of the house.
Breaks
And
2
I
foot
didn't
out
think
your
we don't want to do that.
front door.
But that's what he's saying is his problem. If being,
If you take out, if you add the word only located, the word only that Mr. Walters wants, then then that kind of goes with what Alderman Bertle and you have said, is that we're only talking about those sewer line and sewer main that's in the right of way.
exactly.
That portion of it.
And that's what that language. If you take that language out, then that would lend itself to a suggestion that it would be all the way back to the owner's
No, we don't want that.
house. You don't want that. So I don't think you need want that language out.
But what he's saying is we were only talking about the sewer tap itself
That's what he wants.
and the sewer line separation.
Just take out that damaged building sewer and that'll take care of his concern. Or it says damaged building sewer and, if you take those 4 words out, it'd say property owners damaged building sewer tap.
You could do that.
If you don't want to include any of the piping.
That's your choice. If you,
yeah,
he's
sorry,
right.
yeah.
If you take out the words, for example, on page 2, building sewer and,
Yeah.
then you're left with, actually damaged building sewer and you're left with damaged building sewer tap. You do it there, and you do it on page 3 under C, and you do it again under page 4 under D.
Okay. And
And
then
then
you're
you're-
going to add the
then you're
word
talk-
only there too?
You had the only in there, but then you're just talking about then the damaged building sewer tap.
Okay.
Then, I don't know what you're gonna do with the sewer line that's 6 inches or a foot away or what have you. Because as you pointed out, or you pointed out, if there's gonna be a separation, there's gonna be a separation and probably a break on past the sewer tap.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be.
Because there's not gonna
Otherwise,
necessarily
it's
always
not
be a
broken
clean
until it
break
comes
right at the
out of that
tap. There's
tap.
gonna be some crack somewhere else,
Yeah.
perhaps.
All right, I think, we've discussed this here for, half an hour, and like Rob said, 18 hours outside of here, probably, 16 hours. I think we need to vote on it. We either vote it up or down, the way the
We were
ordinance is
just
now.
making sure we
So
had the right language.
We have a motion by Alderman Jones, second by
okay with
Alderman
that now?
Walters.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, first of all,
Oh, come on.
you gotta have a date filled in,
Well, yeah, we'll fill the date in.
What are you guys
Yeah.
voting on?
effective from and after.
Yeah, I know now.
Well, it's the date that those letters
It's
were
not
sent
in
out.
writing.
That's what we vote.
Okay.
We say it at every
Do you
meeting.
have that date?
We're gonna put that on.
No.
Okay.
You don't have the wording in here.
And did he want the one word separated?
Yeah, and
On
then
D?
separated.
That's what you're voting on?
That's what we're voting on.
Yes.
Okay.
What are we doing there?
Okay.
Well,
And the word only?
the same thing over on C.
It's whatever the date those letters went out to those people on that street.
If you went with my idea, we wouldn't have all this going on.
It was your idea.
Roll call,
Do
please.
you want the word only too? I don't know.
Larry Bud,
Okay.
So,
I've got this written all
I'm
over.
kind of confused what we're voting on here.
Can I summarize?
Yes,
I think you're gonna fill in the date under 2A.
okay.
I think we're gonna add the word separated on page 4 after the word broken. It's gonna say when a broken comma, separated comma, or cracked sewer, building sewer tap.
okay.
And we're gonna add the words only in front of located within the city's right of way on page 2, under 2A2, and also on page 4 under D. As I understand what you're voting on.
So if it's 4 foot out, we're still gonna,
Correct. If it's
The
in the
ayes and the
city's
3 there?
Right.
easement, yeah.
okay, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Larry.
Sean Bertle,
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
No.
Rob Heberlin.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz. Earl Walters.
Motion passes 6-1. Okay, next we have a motion regarding further work in the boiler room of the municipal building. I think you got copies of the quotes we received there. Alderman Kuntz, you want to comment on this?
Sure, this is the actual work that each element requested to be done down there that was discussed in committee. And for time's sake, we decided to go ahead and put it on the council agenda directly. Superintendent Wiseman, I believe, is going to take care of the old stuff and take it out, so we don't have to worry about number 2 on this quote. All we're going to do is, for the new work, the total cost is going to be $3,210. I'd like to place that in formal motion.
And just to clarify, that is to remove the remaining asbestos in the boiler room, correct?
Remaining asbestos, fittings,
Right.
and what's described right there.
Okay. You got a second on that motion?
Second, want to comment
Alderman Walters, go ahead with your comment.
We want to be sure that it's the word all. We want all, all asbestos removed.
It says that.
Yeah, I want to emphasize that. We want-
Mr. Mayor, can we ask the city clerk to take this form and put it into the form contract they've already signed if you approve this vote?
Okay.
Because you got to comply with all the other prevailing wage and all the other
She's nodding, we
statutes.
can. Yes, we can.
Yes. She's very good at that.
Alderman Bud.
Nowhere in here does it say that we're going to cap this off at the ceiling level. And that's the problem we've got down there right now. Everything was cut off either at floor level or hanging down to where somebody can bump into these pipes. It needs to describe that if we're taking all this off, that it has to be at ceiling height, so that there is no discussion about hanging pipes down. We've got that down there right now, and I don't agree with that. If we're going to do it, they need to cap them off at the top to where they're not in the way, because
Well, we'd have to get a different quote for that. His quote is to cut it off where it needs to be cut off to take the asbestos with it. If we're going to have them remove more, it'll be a higher quote. You done, Larry?
I don't agree with it.
Alderman Heberlin.
I really thought the discussion, he agreed to do that. For instance,
He
the
did.
2 copper lines that was hanging down, he said he was going to remove that.
Yeah, on those pieces he is. He agreed to that. But I mean, additionally, like going forward, the remaining stuff in there now, to keep the cost low, we said just get rid of the asbestos because Dick said him and his guys can take care of the rest of it. So the cheapest way for us to proceed is to get the asbestos, which you have to have a license and the equipment for,
All right,
and they can get the rest of it.
thank you.
All right, anyone else before we vote? Roll call.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coons.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
No.
Motion passes 6-1. Brings the city attorney updates.
Well, I guess I'm going to talk.
Yes. Talk fast.
I have 6 quick items just to bring up, 6 quick ones, and you've been getting a lot of emails from me with some of these items, but I am meeting with David Spiegel on Wednesday. He has replied back to commenting on my draft of the water main extension ordinance for the Mahon property. We're meeting Wednesday morning. We should have something for you by next council meeting, hopefully. The Ameren transmission easement, you saw some communications I've had with their attorney. He's on vacation this week. He's supposed to be back and respond next week. The mayor has tried to secure some inexpensive appraisals from our tax assessor, and unfortunately he's not able to do that, so it's going to be back to your committee to take another look and see if you want to get another number to deal with. And as soon as you get that, let me know that I can deal with their attorney. Next is that you've gotten some communications I've passed on to you with the new ordinance violation procedures we're trying to get in place. I've spoke again with Credit Collection Partners Rick Bonister today. We're going to revisit again with the clerk and try to get this in some manageable form. Because what we're struggling with here is you can only go back 7 years, we think, for a judgment, and the courts insist, and which is rightfully so, that any payment orders that are in effect for our OV judgments have to be vacated because we're not permitted to enforce those payment orders. And I'll be talking again with Rick and trying to get this done. We want to get this moving as quick as we can. The fourth thing is that you've got a new agreement we put together for the televising sewer work. I think it's on you're going to be sent to committee to take a look at with the resolution. I haven't heard back yet from Mr. Wiseman, but maybe you can share some comments on how he thinks if that's worded the way he would like to see it done as well. As far as the fire training agreement, you've seen the revision of that. I believe the fire chief, as I saw in the minutes, is speaking with Meadow Manor, and hopefully they will accept that new form, and then you can bring it back and get it approved. And then, of course, the final thing is we put together a loud noise ordinance, and it's quite lengthy, but I think it covers a lot of stuff that you guys were talking about. It's, again, on your ordinance committee. It's a rewrite of your whole ordinance,
I have
noise.
some concerns that I'll bring up on in regards to the noise ordinance.
Right. And actually, so you know, a lot of the format of that came, and we can thank the mayor for that, getting the ordinance from another community that I kind of took and tweaked and incorporated our individual concerns with it. So it's
Don't blame
something to
me.
work with.
Don't
No,
blame
I think it's, if you don't like it, you blame the mayor, okay?
My concern is with the US EPA and the NASI that dictates the sound level, the decibels that can be put in equipment that's manufactured and sold all over the US of A. And we're not a home rule community, so we can't go against that. And I've got the information I'll bring to the meeting on that.
That's in there?
Not the part that we can't go against it.
Yeah, I didn't think it was, but we'll take a look at it.
I'm talking about the weed eaters and the lawnmowers and the trimmers that are manufactured at a certain decibel level. And now you're putting all those people in town, not you, but all the people
Thank
in
you.
town that have those pieces of equipment that our neighbors are going to be complaining because we're running a weed eater or lawnmower out there, but the manufacturer sells it to us based at 70 decibels. And that's going to be heard more than two properties away from my property line.
Right.
So I can't support that.
And then what I would suggest when you go to the ordinance committee meeting, there's a whole list of exceptions. And you might want to throw that as an exception if the guy wants to do his leaf blower, weed eater for a reasonable period of time. Not at 3 in the morning and for 3 hours at a time.
Any other questions for the city attorney? Thank you very much.
I guess I'm finished then, right?
Aren't you?
I'm finished.
Okay. Moving on to mayor updates. 3 quick things here. We've got the IML conference, which begins Thursday morning. And as usual, I expect those attending will pick up some knowledge that can be utilized for the benefit of the city. We have less than 3 weeks remaining before the Taylorville Christian County 175th celebration and Chili Fest. And the parade will actually take place on Saturday, October 5th at 11 a.m. All city officials are invited to participate. And so please let Pam know if you think you're going to participate. I hope as many as possible do. And same thing goes for city superintendents. Now, for the superintendents, the thing is you will not get extra pay. You'll just do it for the pride of your city. So you're welcome to come, though. And finally, barring some unforeseen need for its reappearance, this should be the last city council meeting that this beard will attend. So it served us all well.
You're not keeping it?
I'm not keeping it, no. It's that was vetoed by the wife. So
I thought it was for the whole celebration.
Yeah, which ends on October 5th at 5 p.m. So. All right. All right, let's keep it moving unless anybody's got something serious.
I have a question. Do you have
Alderman
any
Dorchenez.
update on George's Candy Shop?
They're still moving on it. No, I don't have any more update.
They haven't done anything for at least a week.
Oh, they were working on it yesterday. I saw the people out there working on it. It must have been Friday. Friday's when I saw them at the last. But there was guys out there working then on Friday.
I didn't see anybody.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything.
Because I went over to the A-frame, and that's I saw them over there in that corner working. All right, anybody else?
If you keep that beer till Christmas, we can get you a spot of scent.
Yeah. Well, and that's not going to happen either. So. Moving on to committee reports, discussions and or motions to approve, adopt, and or deny, and or table, and or amend, and or refer to an appropriate committee in whole or in part the matters regarding the following subject matters discussed at the committee level. And we'll start with the Emergency Services Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First motion that came out of that committee meeting was motion to allow Police Chief Herb Street to proceed with the option 1 for the purchase of 15 iWin computers from CDS Office Technologies in Springfield at a cost not to exceed $49,000. I'd like to make that in form of a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Alderman Heberlin. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherling?
Yes.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Ray Coontz?
Yes.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
The second motion out of that committee meeting was a motion to forward the request for a resolution of participation and support for the Intergovernmental Law Enforcement Officers In-Service Training Act 82-674 to the September 15, 2014 City Council agenda. I'd like to make that in form of a motion.
Okay. You have a second on that?
Second.
Alderman Heberlin. Discussion or comment?
May I suggest that the motion be amended to insert the name City of Taylorville, Illinois on the 4 blanks of the resolution and to cross out the notary seal.
Okay.
We want to
Yeah.
do that now or under
Yeah.
the resolution? We haven't done the resolution.
Oh,
yet.
okay.
This is just the motion to forward it. So. And I don't know why it's on here, but it is. So.
Okay. I thought you deferred it until the...
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Rob Heatherling?
Yes.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Ray Coontz?
Yes.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Now, if we would, we go back to the resolution, is that okay?
Right.
And I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution with the insert of, what'd you say?
City of Taylorville.
City of Taylorville in the appropriate.
4 spaces.
5 locations? Or
4.
locations?
4.
Four.
Second page.
Okay.
And take off the notary seal. Please.
Like to make that in form of motion? If it's-
Thanks.
Second by Alderman Jones. Discussion or comment? Roll call.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
The next motion was to allow Police Chief Herb Street to trade in 2 2004 Chrysler Sebring vehicles and purchase 2 new or programmed vehicles from a local dealership at a cost not to exceed $20,000 apiece. I'd like to make that in form of a motion.
You have a second on that?
Second.
Alderman Coons, discussion or comment? Roll call.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Next motion was allow Police Chief Herb Street to rejoin the Central Illinois Enforcement Group Drug Task Force if staffing is available, and the stipulation that the Police Chief Herb Street brings this issue back to the committee before starting the process. I'd like to make that in form of a motion.
Second.
Second by Alderman Heberlin. And just for clarification, this isn't the chief himself joining, this is just the department. I'll come back up. Any other questions? Roll call.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Last motion was to direct KMRM, a division of Diamond Brothers Insurance, to change the coverage on the 2013 Pierce Arrow XT100 platform truck to replacement cost insurance. I'd like to make that in form of a motion.
Second by that comment.
Second by Alderman Walters, go ahead with your comment.
I think this is a very astute move for the city of Taylorville. This is you might say, a once-in-a-lifetime purchase of a piece of equipment. And so to have a replacement cost on there makes a lot of sense for the dollars we're talking about.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. That brings us to Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had one motion, a motion to accept as written the amended hiring procedure policy, and offer that as a motion.
Second.
Second by Alderman Coons, discussion or comment? The only comment I've got, I want to thank Alderman Heberlin for working on that. I think he did a great job. Roll call, please.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Let me just briefly comment. You've already.
Motion passes 7-0.
I understand. And I talked with Alderman Eberly about that, and we might take another look at some way down the road there about the language there at the end about the no contract language.
Moving on to
And
water.
If,
Oh, go
if
ahead.
I might comment on that, when we did talk, most of this policy was just rewritten from what is now the former policy, and that statement that Attorney Romano is referencing was taken verbatim from the old policy that I think was from '07 or '08, so there really shouldn't be any challenges out there for it.
This is what we hope.
There shouldn't be any challenges.
Moving on to Water Environmental Committee.
I can't make the motion on the ordinance about the sewer.
No, I'm pushing on the agenda.
Water and Environmental Committee met on September 11th. There was a motion to accept Amendment Number 8 to the agreement for engineering services related to water system improvements for the new water treatment plant with Benton Associates as presented, and to direct the mayor and city clerk to sign all the necessary documents, and also the resolution.
We'll do this motion, and I need a
Then
second
we'll
on
do
the
the
resolution.
resolution.
Okay, Alderman Walters.
Do I have a comment?
Alderman Walters, go with your comment, and I'll go back to.
I wanted to apologize to Reggie Benton and whoever else was at that meeting. I wasn't able to attend. I had another commitment. So I do support this. I just wasn't able to make that meeting.
Alderman
I'd
Dorchenez.
just like to say that Reggie Benton and Jamie Hedden are in the audience tonight. They're there to support me in case there's any questions. And I'm glad that they came over here tonight, especially for this meeting from Jackson. Appreciate that. And that having been said,
Any other comments? Alderman
Just one,
Jones.
just like Alderman Walter says, I'm glad we had a good water supply here, because after I read that through twice, I was ready for about 3 glasses of good, clean water. That's some dry stuff.
All right, let's take a vote. Roll call, please.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes, ma'am.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Now you want to do the resolution?
Nope. Yeah, yes, I do. I'd like to make
Must
a
be in the
motion
water.
to pass the resolution amendment number 8 to the agreement for engineering services with Benton Associates Incorporated related to the water system improvements for the new water treatment plant.
So Alderman Walters, discussion or comment? Roll call.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz. Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
The next motion was to allow Ben Morrison, who has volunteered at his expense, to place a light on or at the fence in the southeast corner of the city's fenced area focused upward, to shine on the tornado logo on the high school water tower, to be utilized during any night home game, meaning that it could be volleyball, basketball, football, whatever.
Second.
I'll put that in made form.
Alderman Dorchenez, second by Alderman Bertle. Discussion or comment?
I noticed in the minutes that the committee advised Bill Newberry, the airport manager, to check with the Illinois Department of Aeronautics. I assume he's done so.
All right, all right.
We're okay with that?
Yeah, if not, he'll, Bill, as far as you know, we're okay?
As far as I know,
Okay, all right.
I don't see any problem.
Roll call, please.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to Lake Airport Committee.
Did you do that?
Did he ask you to read that, Alderman Bud?
Thank you, Your Honor. Motion to accept the emergency action plan for the lake as proposed. I'd like to make that in form of motion.
Okay, got a second on that?
Second.
Alderman Coons, discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Next, a motion to approve the bean crop with Mr. Brian Moses due to the circumstances explained with understanding that the future crops will be hay as required by the contract. Make that in form of motion, Your Honor.
Okay, got a second on that?
Second.
Alderman Coons, discussion or comment? Roll call.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
The next one was a motion to direct the city attorney to amend the proposed changes to Title VII of the Lake Taylorville, the city code, which has taken out 72-2-D regarding the headgear required equipment, and to print sections 7-3-6 and number 2, and then 7-3-6D regarding swimming, wading, bathing in bold, to get the attention, and direct the city clerk's office to prepare the new handbooks for the next season. Make that form of motion.
Okay, got a second on that?
Second.
Alderman Heberlin, discussion or
Yeah,
comment?
I have a question. What does
Alderman Dorchenez.
what's it mean by bathing in bold?
I mean, that portion
Use your imagination.
will be in bold print. Okay.
Michael,
Oh.
do they have to have
Oh.
headgear on too?
You want- no.
I
They
understand.
don't have to be that bold.
I just,
All right, any other questions? Roll call.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
I guess.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz. Mark Voda. Sorry. Earl Walters.
Motion passes 7-0.
All night
This
long.
stuff only comes out like airport line.
Next was a motion to award the highest bid of $231 an acre for 4 parcels of farmland near Lake Taylorville to Ed Miller. Make that in form of motion, Your Honor.
Okay, got a second on that?
Second.
Alderman Coons?
Yes.
Just working overtime.
It obviously is to execute farm leases with this gentleman.
Yes.
In the motion.
Yes.
Right.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
The next one in there was a motion to allow Superintendent Jackson to contact Zach's Truck Repair for the maintenance of the IT-28 cat loader at a cost not to exceed $2,000. Make that in form of motion, Your Honor.
Okay, got a second on that?
Second.
Alderman Walters? Discussion or comment? Roll call.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherling.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz. Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
And then the last one in there was a motion to allow Superintendent Jackson to purchase parts needed for the Kawasaki mule at a cost not to exceed $475. Make that in form of motion, Your Honor.
Okay. Second by Alderman Walters. Discussion or comment? Roll call.
Rob Heatherling.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Finally, we have a motion to approve and ratify payment and bills in the amount of $192,805.42.
Make that in form of motion with a comment,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Alderman Bertle, go ahead with the comment. Alderman Bud.
Okay, fuel for all departments, $27,159.93. Electric for all departments, $11,805.14. Telephone for all departments, $2,958.93. Office supplies for all departments, $1,690.65. Ace, Big R, Ron's, and Urban for miscellaneous supplies and equipment, $4,244.30. AutoZone and O'Reilly's for miscellaneous parts, $1,063.05. U.S. Bank for miscellaneous, $2,724.47. Meyer Austin Armato for legal fees and ordinance violations, $7,629. Green and Bradford, $22,742.31. Taylorville Main Street for second quarter, hotel motel, $3,361.82. State of Illinois Treasurer's Office for the Spillway Bridge reimbursement, $11,742.91. Christian County Real Estate Tax for farmland and miscellaneous, $2,137.42. Waste Management, this includes Vine Street and other departments, $3,528.15. Larry Berry for miscellaneous, $964.78. Sturting Codifiers for publishing supplement, $1,125. Unique temporary help for all departments, $3,028.85. Nokomis Quarry, $1,044.24. Fire and Police Commission for medical tests, $1,022. The Police Department for Ray O'Haron for equipment and uniforms, $5,010.80. Keesler's Police Supply for ammo, $3,063.68. The Fire Department, Max Fire and Safety for maintenance and uniforms, $1,260.25. Street and Sewer Department for Tullis Excavating for sidewalk, curbs, and sewer repair, $6,306.80. Water Department, Altorfers, $1,980. Midwest Meter for miscellaneous supplies, $1,464.81. Snyder Environmental Miscellaneous Supplies, $2,029.76. Chemicals, $7,372.90. And the airport for Aero Energy for fuel, $39,054.53. And these all total up to $177,516.48.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for the bills? Roll call, please.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherling.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, before I open up the public, anyone else here have anything to say? Alderman
ahead.
Dorchenez.
For you that don't know, this weekend is St. Mary's Parish Picnic. Friday night they're having a fish fry, and Sunday they're having a chicken dinner, and it's finger licking good, I guarantee you. And I also would personally like to give Mike Cruz and the fire department a kudo. They helped me, the fire department helped me last Saturday. How they helped is none of your business. If you really need to know, you can ask Mike.
Thank you. Alderman Heatherling.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Mr. Jones.
Alderman Jones.
Two things. Number one, when they had the machines up on the square, I believe the city was well represented.
Yes, they were.
In the street department, the water department, the sewer department, the fire department, the police department. Everybody did a great job. Vehicles looked good. I know the kids had a blast. And I don't know if we paid those guys overtime for being there or not, but if we did, you deserved it. If not, thank you for the fine volunteering job. Number two is, if you haven't noticed, Walmart's new lot out there what a blessing that is. Unfortunately, with that blessing, there comes a small curse. That is the mess that's been made on Route 29 coming in and out of there. I would hope that their contractor would have some type of stipulation that they clean up that mess on Route 29. I personally was nearly involved in an accident because someone slid on the rocks and about took me out on my Harley. So it's got to be cleaned up.
Sure.
And so I just hope that whoever needs to get in contact with them, whether it's Superintendent Wiseman or the mayor, that they make sure that their contractor knows that cleanup is part of the job.
Sure. Anyone else up here? Okay, per subparagraph G of 5 ILCS 120/2.06, this portion of the city council meeting is reserved for any person wishing to address the council on any relevant subject matters concerning the city. Would anyone out there like to address the council?
Reggie, this is your time, bud.
I didn't want to prolong the meeting, but I would like to just say thank you for the opportunity to continue to work with the city on this very important infrastructure project, and we'll certainly stay in touch and update you as we make progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I would just remind you, Reggie, if you've really enjoyed yourself tonight, these are taped and rebroadcast a week from now. Okay? All right. Seeing no further items on the agenda, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Alderman Bertle, second by Alderman Kuntz. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion passes. Meeting adjourned, 8:11 p.m.
George?